All right, everyone, it's 7 p.m. August 19th, 2024. This is the time and place for a scheduled city commission meeting. We have a quorum as our board is as full as it's going to get until December. Let's start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
First are the minutes for the commission meeting from August 5th, 2024. If there are no modifications, we'll need a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 5th, 2024.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 5th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the commission meeting minutes from August 5th, 2024. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, modification or approval of agenda. We do need to make one addition. We have a bid proposal for weed spraying at the city shops, so I'd like to put that at number 10. If that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to add that to the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to modify the agenda with the bid for weed spraying. I'm assuming there's no discussion on that, so we'll move to the vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, old business. Liz, are you there?
Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, very good. Sorry, had a bit of a struggle with the mute button there. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate you allowing for my remote appearance. I think I'll be rather brief. I will let the commission know, and I will thank our engineer for supplying the task order relating to the Tioga Dam. I did email Josh back today. I had intended to do that Saturday. Let him know that looks in good shape, subject to commission approval for the financials on that side, of course. I will also note that I reviewed new business item number 7. That's the Bros contract pertaining to the chip seal. It was a little bit different than our traditional form of AIA documents, but I don't have any objection to the Bros contract. I would ask, because that wasn't specifically referenced, that if Bros can, at the time or together with the signing of that agreement, that they supply their insurance or bond information in that capacity. But the contract generally looked good and it was quite simple, so I appreciated that. There are other matters that might elicit my participation depending on how the meeting goes. It looks like we have a nice and relatively short agenda this evening, so I will stand back unless you need me, and I think that's all I have for now.
Gosh, is Josh here?
I was hiding behind the podium. Good evening, commissioners. A few items to go over this evening with you. We'll start with task order number 2, the Northeast Tioga Reconstruction Phase 2 project. Project update, correspondence from the contractor. They've indicated they have a landscaper scheduled to come in this week and take care of the topsoil work and then hazard mulch. Majority of the project area, what they've indicated, their schedule is on that. They also have some asphalt work that we haven't gotten a solid time frame on yet, but I think it's likely within the next couple of weeks. We haven't gotten for sure answer on time. That is the update on that project. Any questions? Next item is the recreational trail project up at the dam. Preliminary construction schedule for that project. We actually have that included in our task order amendment, as an attachment, excuse me, for basis of time frame there. So they're looking at getting started, on work out there in a week from today, August 26th. They'll start with, some of their erosion control, installation, followed the following week by, starting with some of the earthwork, removing topsoil, things of that nature, progressing in the actual dirt work, subgrade prep, gravel, paving, towards the end of September into early October, followed by topsoil placement, fencing installation, and seeding and mulching through the end of October. With that, the substantial completion date on the project is October 1st. So they're, you know, they have the paving portion, it looks like it's gonna be complete within time frame there, but there's kind of gonna be no outstanding topsoil placement, seeding, and things of that nature. That'll likely be beyond that time frame. So there is some discussions that we'll have to have there with the contractor to time frames. It's until we're in that position, I guess it's probably not much to discuss. They're aware of it. They're technically, you know, that's essential. But getting started here next week. We'll see on. Regarding that project, we did hold the pre-construction meeting, 13 at 1 p.m. at the city shop. Kind of lined up there. One thing we did talk about at that meeting was the excess soil from the project. There's estimated 2,000 to 2,300 cubic yards excess soil from the project that'll need to be disposed of. And I guess the initial discussion was taken to landfill. However, we did talk with Chief Nelson regarding the police department shooting range up there. And kind of one thing that we come up with, at one point they were looking at potentially vacating that location, but now they're probably in more position to stay out there. What kind of time frame you can maybe speak more on that if there's any questions or related to that. But essentially what we kind of come up with was, I guess it's illustrated in the second page of your packet there, but this area here is the current range area. This is around the place out there. They're looking at kind of expanding, potentially expanding that area. So this red line area here would be kind of where we're considering having them place that excess soil from the project, and having conversations with Jason Steele, with the street department, be able to provide some resources to help more so shape and actually construct the berms out there for, that's of course for protection for fire operations out there. Just wanted to run that by you, see if there's any opposition to that or any questions. If there's questions, I can try to answer them. Otherwise, Chief Nelson. Oh, absolutely. He's up. Oh, there he is. I didn't know. I saw him outside. So, if there's any question, seem reasonable.
Yeah. I don't see a problem with it at all.
Excellent. So yeah, we'll kind of give the contractor the go ahead to use that area for excess material. Go from there, so. Next item on that, we did have some conversations with the contractor as well about potential use of crushed concrete. The city does have some material out at the landfill right now. However, it sounds like there's somebody who's supposed to be coming in at some time frame here to crush a big pile of concrete. So we did talk to the contractor with potential use of that material if, for some potential cost savings. So once we, I guess, know better on time frame of them actually coming to crush and time frame of construction taking place, you know, some further discussion on whether that price adjustment makes sense. So, last item on that project is the engineering amendment for construction engineering services for this project. So that is our construction staking for survey work, observation, RPR work, and administration of construction contract. Kind of this one, there's kind of a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's portions of the project that are, I would say, not necessarily requiring us to be out there full time. You know, if they're stripping topsoil, we can do some check-ins with them, other installation of fencing, seeding, mulching, those types of work components. We, I guess our proposal was kind of set up to be kind of part-time, check-in every other day or so with them as those activities are going. But as the compaction of the subgrade, fabric and gravel installation, and paving work, we are kind of budgeted to be out there full time for those activities. And it is critical, but just pushing a little bit here probably isn't worth having someone sit out there all day. So that's the way we set that up. That discussion on that. Approval of that item.
You need a motion for that, right, Josh?
Yes.
That path going all the way around the dam.
Currently, it's gonna be a two-phase project, so the component that's going on with construction will fall basically around the northern of the dam. Second phase will come after the kind of some other.
So you're talking about putting a bridge in to them or something?
Yes, correct. There will be a floating bridge across.
So who would pull that bridge out every fall, so it don't get destroyed?
The supplier of that.
So this is just the first phase, it's not the second.
Correct.
I'll just think of understanding this correctly. What is the additional cost? Encompassing? Or am I really not understanding it correctly?
For our services, you're saying?
Mhm.
So our current agreement that we have in place is for we have to do some environmental work, the design, bidding services of the project, and now that contractors on board, we have an amendment for construction related services through the duration of the construction.
Is this, time sensitive?
They'll be starting from today. Somewhat.
No, I. You with me, Josh? So. Brief overview one more time if you could, like real quick. I know that was a lot, but you just run us through it one more time.
For our services, yeah, so, essentially it's construction engineering services, which that kind of encompasses our, survey for construction staking activities for the project, as well as on-site observation, RPR services, as well as administration of construction contracts, so reviewing submittals, meetings with the contractor and city, review pay applications, quantities, close out of the construction contract.
So. 112,000 for them. So, I think it's up top, it's 112,600, but then down at the bottom, it's 109,900. You guys want to do
One,
It is time sensitive, we've got to. They will just stop.
I guess doesn't really leave us with any time to think about it, so.
we've got time, we can make time, we can adjust the schedule if we have to, it's just not preferred, right?
if, I guess if we're adjusting the contractor's schedule, now we'll start. There potentially some costs associated with that. Potentially some discussions. Something.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
I'll second it.
All right, with the motion and a second to approve the amendment, the amount of $112,600. Is there any more discussion on this? Not, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Next, item is the North Main Street reconstruction project. update on construction on that project. Concrete, work is all completed. Topsoil has been placed in the boulevard areas. The work is asphalt and topsoil preparation, seeding, mulching. Items associated with that. As far as schedule goes for paving, the current subcontractor they have for the asphalt work hasn't been overly responsive to them, to Crow River Construction on the project. So they're looking at a couple other, at least one other, I should say, option for getting asphalt paved. Talk that potentially Monday, from today they could be in here, but so kind of waiting to hear solid time. With that, next item I have is the contractor's application for payment number 2. That is included in the packet for value of $1,140,277.00. Approval. Application payment.
You're good with it, right?
Yep.
It's, who's doing the asphalt? That's the night. Or
That, yes, Knife River is kind of, is there a subcontractor kind of thing for asphalt? Getting timeframes from them and whatnot. More time.
Make a motion to approve the application for payment for the recommended amount by the engineer.
Second that.
Hey, with the motion and a second to approve the payment release in the amount of $1,140,277.08. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
The motion carries.
when you get an update on when the asphalt will be laying, could you let us know? Okay.
The last item, related to that project. 204 North Willow Street, straight north, police department, facility there, north side of Second Avenue. The resident there had requested to put concrete within the boulevard area. Project. The initial plan was just replacing the existing sidewalk, which was there, which is good. Place concrete within that area. We did get a proposal from Wagner and Sons Construction. Last page of the packet there. For approval. Put a couple red line notes on there. Some discussion. We're a little generic, so just a little more detail. A smaller area. What they anticipate in their quote, so I don't see potentially see a decrease. Commission would like to move forward with that. I believe I understand that spoke directly with the residents, but they were willing to pay for it. I don't know that we received pricing on it or anything, but.
So they'd be willing to pay for it in lieu of planting grass. They just don't want grass in that little.
Yeah, it's like a
Or-
3 and 4 foot. So was existing or prior to the project. There was actually, was a tree in that area that was initially intended to be left. It was pretty rough shape, so. Potentially.
Trading a tree for concrete. And I don't have a problem with it, and the reason being is on our street, when they initially did that, the original plan was to put the sidewalk like right in the middle of my yard, because that's where it was before, like years and years and years ago, and city worked with us and they put it out on the curb, and it's awesome. It's a game changer for us, so. It's super important when you really like the place you live.
I don't see a huge deal. If he wants that done, we could do that.
I have a question. Is it only in front of that one home? Like, I'm just thinking for the future, if homeowners can choose to do that, you could have a section of concrete and then a section of grass and then a section of concrete. Like, I'm just thinking in the future, right? Or is it the entire area then would be?
This specific location, it's pretty well concrete, the whole stretch.
There's nothing east or west, right?
So I mean, to fit that general, east and west. It makes sense.
We are paying for it, right?
What's that?
We are paying for it, right?
I guess my understanding was that they mentioned they were willing to pay for it, but I like I mentioned that. All that.
You just need approval then.
Yeah, I think if it's okay with the commission. that we Take it to them. That one.
So, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, really, that's all I have this. I don't know if there's any questions for me.
Off topic, we talked on Friday about that, water and sewer
Yes.
potentially coming up with costs. Have you gained any traction on that, or is it still?
We
just-
haven't got into it yet, but I guess we should have some time. Take a peek at that. I can phone call later this week to touch base on that. Discuss further at the next meeting. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. Number 3 is the community center update.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know, I'm Burton Young's senior architect with the EAPC. I was also the project architect on the community center. Just a little update from last week. They had our footings in on the south side. They were going to continue footings around on the west side. They were going to start putting the foundation wall up on the south side. They were also starting to frame the warming house with wood studs. So, and then they're They've got most of the mechanical, electrical underground in, so. I'm also here to present the application for payment of number one for FCI for the amount of $593,000.10. And that includes most of their setup, that includes all the earthwork, the concrete that's been done so far, and a lot of the utilities, so
You need a motion to release that payment.
please, yes. And I believe you have this in your pack already.
I'm staring at it. Big number. $93. So $193,010.
We'll make a motion to approve. Number one.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to approve payment application number one to FCI, that's correct, in the amount of $593,010. Do you have any discussion on it? That's for your motion, you got first days if you.
I've been driving around. Like a lot.
All right, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, you got?
Yeah.
You want more? What do you got? It's good. There's. All right, number four, nuisance property at 100 or 109 4th Street, Orange East. Thank you for being here. I need your help with this one.
I'm not sure, in your packet, there, I tried to give you a kind of while there's a lot of pictures there, kind of a brief history that to follow through with, that the pictures are in stories, or stories in the pictures. I think, we had this, there was some discussion among some of us as far as how to proceed, or, how do we handle this, because there is so-called this personal property type of things, and if there were issues where if that were to be removed by an individual or a company or the city, would there be other complicating issues that would be created by that? That's causing, with so much of the material that's on the site, that's cluttering up the neighborhood there, or the property. The other, and I think Liz can maybe chime in on this a little bit here. But there is also, I think, another option, or potential options would be potential fines. And there is in the ordinance, which I think I gave you a copy of, and I highlighted it, where there's a per day type of penalty for each day as an infraction. Starting after a certain amount of period of time if it's not resolved or being resolved. So I'm not sure, I'm here to ask and to how do we want to proceed, because in the original motion from the previous commission and order and finding of facts was that we, the city can or may enter the property and remedy and the situation. But we do have options, and I guess I want to make sure that we as a city proceed with what is the most fair, the most equitable, but yet to be able to adhere to the ordinances that we have at hand. been working with him for up to 2 years, as stated in the packet there. And obviously, it continuously didn't get any better. And so, I guess that's where we're at today.
Sorry, we gave them how many days from the special meeting we held on it? Was it 30 days?
It was 30 days, you know.
To make
for
some
that.
improvement.
We're pushing probably a month and a half now. At least.
It's been a little longer than that. The order issued on June 21st of this year. We went through July and now it's August. And my recollection, Dan, and we would have to check the minutes, but my recollection is the commission was, they issued the formal notice, but it's accurate to say that they were just expecting to see substantial progress. And I guess I haven't spoken with you in about a week and a half or 2 weeks, Dan, on this particular file, but my understanding was it was certainly not substantial progress at the time we spoke.
That is correct. There has been some progress. There's been an item or two that has been removed, it looks like. A four-wheeler has been removed. A couple items from the very front of the property have been removed. But there's still the van, between the van and the entryway, it's still full of items. And along both sides of the property, and there's even additional material brought in the last few days.
No, I think the commissioner is awfully compassionate towards his work schedule, because I know he was working like a rotating schedule. He wasn't here all the time.
Right.
Super compassionate, very generous with the time allotment. Then double, close to triple now.
Yep.
Not gonna happen.
I mean, I have not contacted him, but neither he has never contacted the city either, in regarding the order. And the order is pretty, I think, pretty clear and pretty blatant, so I don't know why, there's a plane of action going on here that's being a test of resolve.
If we go in and help clean up, where does that stuff go? Does it just get organized on the property, or?
You usually haul it off, Brett, and then it's the cost of any abatement are assessed back to the property tax. I mean, we've never been asked to organize, but any expense that the city incurs is assessed back. Typically, it's just a straight haul off and an abatement.
This would be like the streets and water guys that would be taking it off the property, or?
Well, we'd either the city people do it, or maybe it might be advisable or suggested, I would suggest having an independent contractor do that, just to keep the city employee free from any activities or involvement at a later date, if that were to happen, just to avoid that. And I'm sure there would be some form of documentation as things were happening. In my thinking, in a way where there would be a video or pictures taken or whatever. And correct me if I'm wrong, Liz, that a lot of those items would be removed, if it's removed, would probably go to the impound lot, maybe. Because as was stated, once junk is someone else's treasure. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Outside of vehicles, I don't know that we've ever thrown anything in impound. I think that probably is specific to what's there and what's being removed. And you've done a good job documenting it with pictures, Dan. A lot of it, and I don't want to speak poorly because Dan's right. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and I understand that and respect that. But, trying to impound that volume of material would be pretty overwhelming.
Are we well protected doing this? And the reason I ask is, it's a little off topic story, but We had a flare at a station once and wouldn't you know it, the landowner had goats that lived next to the flare. And apparently one of the goats died from sleep deprivation, couldn't sleep because of the flare. And wouldn't you know it, that was the prize goat. It was the greatest goat of all time. And we had paid as if it was the greatest goat of all time. So if we go in and we clean this up, what happens if we find out from him that his paddle boat was an award-winning paddle boat? I'm serious, it's a legitimate concern.
Would it be better just to fine him? Because we're gonna go in there and we're gonna wanna clean up whatever's junk. He's probably more than likely gonna wanna hold on to everything in there, so how productive would that be? And then, you know, it's just, would it just be better to fine him?
Do we set a limit on how many days he's fined? What is the daily fine? Do you know what that is?
Liz, you could maybe verify that, but I think in the ordinance, it says up to $500 may be assessed each day violation continues. Now it says up to, you know, so I mean, obviously I would not personally recommend that in this situation. But I mean, you know, so I mean, there is a time frame, I believe. Yeah, violations which constitute infractions which occur for more than 3 days. Yeah, shall constitute an offense with a penalty or fine of up to $1,000. So I mean, I guess however that's all defined and split up, you know, Liz would have to give us guidance on that.
Yeah, I mean, the inherent problem you kind of run into there, Brett's question is fair as, you know, as the city, if you engage in the abatement unilaterally because he's beyond the scope of what was allowed in the findings, is there any liability? What I can tell the new commission members is that, and I think some of you were even there for that hearing, but that, you know, the property owner appeared at the hearing. There was pretty protracted communication, so it wasn't like a default hearing where he didn't appear. And the order, actually, the findings of fact and the order executed by the commission are pretty specific in that first paragraph, indicating, you know, the nature of some of the personal property. It was propane tanks, pallets, snow blowers, metals, cinder blocks, paddle boat, drain tile, tubing, generators, tires, wheel rims, netted fence, four-wheelers, vehicle parts, and miscellaneous items, too many to name. So, you know, I realized that last little bit probably is a little more vague, but there was certainly documentation in the way of photographs. You know, you could certainly fine him if you brought separate proceedings. The issue there, though, is that when you find someone, if you're charging an infraction, then that's a whole nother proceeding unto itself. It has to go through municipal court because it's the imposition of a fine. So it's a separate proceeding. And again, you know, it gets to be, it's certainly available and it's certainly been done. The use of fines, and each day constitutes a separate violation if you wish to do it that way. But it just gets to be procedurally cantankerous. You know, ideally he would clean up. I think it would be fair to remind him that there's the potential for a fine. And it might be worth inquiring, you know, if he can't get it done, does he just wish the city to haul off and us to assess back those costs? But, you know, we've certainly fined people for non-compliance. I will say that. It's just that it invites a whole nother level of process through municipal court because it's an infraction-based offense and you have to give due process and court process in that respect. So I don't think you'd have any liability, Brett. I think you're right to question that, but the order was pretty clear, and the documentation that existed under the order and of record is photographic evidence that shows what the issue there for abatement was.
Can we give like a 15-day notice to get it removed, or it will be abated? We'll remove it? I really don't.
I don't think he's gonna do it no matter what. I guess I suggested a fine, but what are the odds he's gonna pay that either? Just which one would be more effective, fining him or just going in and cleaning it up?
it's gonna help, I think that's just gonna incur daily.
Like you said. What says he's gonna pay, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I drove by the other day, it actually looks almost worse than it was when they had the special meeting, so.
So I think you mentioned that some stuff has been moved, but other stuff hasn't had it.
I think for what it's worth, I would tend to agree with Commissioner Iverson there. I think that when when you're having a hard time finding practical compliance, folks that don't engage in practical compliance to avoid the potential of fines and things that, I mean, to my mind, and I'm not trying to suggest what you guys should do, but I think it might be less procedural expense and less time consumptive just to actually engage in the abatement than to run him through more process to fine him.
Your contract is that, right? You don't want our people in there, just in case, so
I would feel better, I think, right? I mean, I think that's,
I would too.
you know. I mean, I don't know, we could probably supervise or something, or I mean, I could, or whatever, you know. Video, take pictures of what was actually removed. And I guess maybe, you know, Jessica, what you were suggesting, do a final second notice type of thing.
And I mean,
I don't know
you
if
guys
we
are
have to.
interested in that, that's fine, like I said, we did give them plenty of time, I just didn't know if we did like I mean, cause we're gonna have to get somebody hired and brought out there anyway, it might take a hot minute, or even if you give them a week and then, I don't know.
I think we should maybe give them at least a week and just say, hey, we're coming in this day, it's getting taken care of.
I agree.
I mean, it takes away and gives him that little second, even though he's had many seconds, you know.
I know.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, but, you know, as far as you're concerned, you know, or, you know, as the broad city, this would be, we're being more than generous, more than reasonable, I believe, and, you know. Yeah. So whatever you decide.
How long do you think it'll take to find somebody to get them hired?
Well, I think there's a couple people that I have in mind, but it's just a matter of when they would be able to get to it. And obviously, we don't have to tell them when it's gonna happen. You know, it's our prerogative. But if we tell them to give, you know, to have a response and have something done, you know, in a week or whatever time frame you want to give them. And if nothing happens, or it just ain't really happening much at all, then, I mean, you know, in the process of doing, you know, we'll be looking for the contractor and we'll be getting things lined up. And if he does miraculously start cleaning up significantly, well, then we'll hold up, we'll, you know, give him that chance, but.
I would also add, guys, that if you find yourself in a position where you have to engage in the physical abatement, it's usually common practice to have a civil standby, a law enforcement officer there, and Dan certainly recording it would be a good idea, but I would maybe just in the interest of peacekeeping, just make sure law enforcement is present when you engage in that scheduling.
Yeah, because more than likely, everything that we're gonna allow, is gonna, you know, treasure dearly and not wanna give up. So. So what do you think the amount of days is that we should give them where you could get somebody hired and get them on
I think he had them, so I kind of think we just seek out a contractor, get them hired and let them know, say, hey, they're gonna be there. It's not like they're gonna show up tomorrow, right? So. Yeah, I think time's up. Yeah. So you'll need a motion or something to seek out a contractor, right?
Well, I'll make the motion to, make the motion to start the abatement process and hire a contractor. Running the,
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to start the abatement process. I think discussion has kind of run its course, so we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Dan. Number 5, community center. Scarborough.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, my name is Bob Scarple, and I'm sure you're getting tired of seeing me. But Mr. Harms and I are equally weary of what's going on here. And we made a request, and I say we, he made the request after our discussion for an open records request for information relative to section 4801.2-20. And it has to, that has section of law has the requirements for the utilization of a construction manager of risk. Requirements, not suggestions. These are requirements. I want to start with one kind of sidebar. There's recently been a discussion in Bismarck about an educational task force meeting without the benefit of having a press or the public involved. Public employees are involved, some public employees are involved. And Attorney Jack McDonald, who's probably the most well-known open records, open meeting attorney in the state of North Dakota, was asked about whether or not it was required that this task force be subject to the open meeting of open records law. And he said the North Dakota Century Code 44-04-17.1 states that all public entities are subject to the open meetings laws, including a task force or working group created by an individual in charge of a state agency or public entity that performs governmental functions. No exception. They're all subject to open meetings, open records laws. So what I'm about to go through with you is a result of an open records request of the city auditor in Tioga and the city attorney of Tioga. And if you look through the document that I just gave you, I'm going to walk through it. Section relative to construction matters at risk. It says the governing body using a CMR shall create a selection committee consisting of a city representative, an architect, an engineer, and a licensed contractor. We cannot find any evidence in what we've been provided that that committee was ever formed. That immediately, in my mind, negates the validity of the contract. But let's go on. A contractor that's part of that committee cannot submit a proposal. It has to be, the intent of this is to create a transparent process that gives the public the best utilization of the public dollars. And these are public dollars. They may not be tax dollars in the normal sense, but they are public dollars, no question about it. It goes on to say that before issuing a notice
of request qualifications, the selection committee shall establish content to the RFQ, which must include 14 factors. We weren't provided with anything like that in the open record request, nothing, none of this was done. The original request, the qualification was made on September 16th of 2021, consisted of 6 pages, including the scope of the CMR with a maximum cost of $7.5 million. Maximum cost of $7.5 million. And the CMR was limited to no more than 5% of the work, self-performed work of the project. You could do 5% of the work, that was all that was allowed in the original request. You know, it ended up at 30,000 square feet, not 11,000. It ended up at 30,000 square feet and $13 million plus $3 million for the architect. You know, no record. We don't have any idea how or when or who authorized it. No city commission discussion that we can find. In the minutes, it just magically happens. The contract for this was signed in May of 2024. The original request for qualifications was in 2021. Just about 3 years earlier. You know, construction wasn't supposed to begin until July 15th. The contract was signed May 28th of 2024. The statute relative to CMR goes on, it says the selection committee shall establish evaluation criteria. We're set in statute, 8 of the criteria were set in statute. Again, no committee, no discussion, no public record. Section 6 of this says the selection committee shall evaluate each submission by weight factors, numerical parameters set by statute. No committee. Number 7, the selection committee shall review proposals and rank the 3 highest finalists recommended to the governing body with a view to negotiate the contract. We have no evidence there was ever anybody considered for this process except FCI. That's a violation. I mean, that violates state law. You know, the biggest part of the problem, as far as we were concerned, was the lack of adequate advertising. There were 3 ads put out in the Tioga paper in November of 2022, 21. 3 ads in the Tioga paper. How many contractors across the state of North Dakota read the Tioga paper? Not many. You know, it's supposed to be advertised in the construction journal so that the industry gets an opportunity to see what's happening and gets an opportunity to bid on it. None of that happened. You know, if you folks so desire, I think you have very valid reason to suspend this contract and renegotiate the entire thing. I suspect if you took this to court, you would find the court would agree with us that they prostituted this process. No question about it. So that's basically what I have to tell you. And that's why I'm here, was to just inform you as to what we found going through. Bob spent a lot of time, Mr. Harm spent a great deal of time going through the minutes, trying to find minutes. We utilized whatever information was provided in the open records request that we received back. If we didn't get information that we should have gotten, that's not our fault. It's irresponsible government at its worst. I recall when we passed this CMR legislation, we passed it because the old methodology and nobody could build. So we put in place provisions that if you wanted to do something for less than $200,000, go ahead. You didn't need to, you know, you just qualified with whatever you wanted to do. If you're going to only spend $200,000, but once you pass that $200,000 threshold, you had to comply with this law. And again, I repeat, there is no evidence compliance at all. And it wouldn't matter what how FCI felt, but if they signed a contract legal to begin with and valid to begin with, they're equally at fault for not doing their due diligence to ensure that the law was complied with by the city commission in Tioga. You know, that's why we pass laws, is to ensure that the people are protected, not the people that are elected are protected, but the people that are representing are elected. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you wish. Mr. Arms is here to validate what I've told you. Thank you. One more thing. I wasn't here for your benefit. I was here for the benefit of the people of Tioga. Because this has been wrong from the beginning. I hope it doesn't ever happen again. But this has been wrong from the very beginning.
All right, and number 6, community processes, Bob Anderson.
I'm Bob Anderson. One thing I'd like to comment on that, I was very interested in knowing that that contract wasn't signed until May 28th of 24. We all got lied to many times that they said it was signed in 22. So this is very interesting. That got signed right before you guys were going to be on the board. It's kind of suspicious.
What do you have on your plate for the agenda tonight? What do you have?
Okay, so what I actually come here for was I had 3 things. One of them, I'm just wondering why the city hall is not open at noon. With all the employees we have in city hall, don't you think somebody should be there at noon? And other people try to go in, pay their water bills or whatever, got questions or whatever. That's what I'm thinking, that maybe that should be changed, where one person goes to dinner at a little different time than the rest, or whatever.
Okay, we'll start tomorrow.
Okay. Another thing is, why is the auditor driving that city vehicle home outside the city limits? Especially in the winter time, if she pulls out there and ever gets an accident, that's over the city up there. Big litigation.
I'm digging through our employee handbook and the policies and all that, and trust me when I say we've already looked at that. We got things in the works. It's a policy issue. It has nothing to do with employees individually.
Oh, okay,
So
but outside the city limit, right here now.
well, would that disqualify from driving a city vehicle? Say we had a conference or something to attend in Stanley, Minot,
You
Bismarck?
have to drive your own car in the town, pick it up and then go, right?
Well, I think city vehicles should be used for city business
Right.
and only.
Right.
So
But I
it's-
mean,
it's-
you kind of come to town to get the vehicle, that's my point, so. You guys think about it, whatever you think.
Oh, like I said, it's a policy issue. I am very much so working on a handful of them, actually.
Okay, so the number one thing I'm here for. And I handed you guys all a sheet here about that existing community center. And to no end, I don't know why, but this paper I gave you was in January 11th of 23. In the fall of 22, the city commissioners voted on setting aside $1 million plus the interest to pay down on that existing community center. And if you read that part there in that place where I outlined for you guys, that's exactly what it was intended for, but I went to all these meetings and I've never seen not one commissioner ever rescind that motion not to pay it off. That pay it down. So I'm just wondering what happened to that $1 million that they set aside to pay down that community center? Cause they owed 2.9 million on it at the time.
So you would like us to continue as that and pay down on it? That's
Well,
what basically. what
so
you're
you
asking.
guys have your September budget coming up. I would highly recommend that you look into paying off that existing community center. You know,
I agree. And I will look into that for you, Bob.
thank you, and then I know what happened to that $1 million that was supposedly set aside. And I talked to the man that run the paper, and he told me, oh yeah, he said that was made a point, and he told me, but I, for some reason, I couldn't find that article, but I found this one saying the same.
No, you're right. I remember the meeting.
So. Thank you, that's all I got.
All right, moving on to new business, number 7, roads contract.
Hello again. Have you guys had a chance to look over the proposal that we sent in, or do you guys? Yeah. So, in essence, this is the proposal to do the preliminary, the design engineering for these chip seal projects to be part of the multi-community chip seal project that we were discussing last time. I can get Liz the insurance information she was requesting. I'll talk to our lady who does the insurance paperwork and get it to her. That should be all, and then in addition, once it's done being reviewed by Burke County, who's gonna be the primary on this project, there'll be a joint community agreement. I'll also submit to Liz, that way she can review and make sure it's okay with you guys for bringing it forward. That in essence says that Burke County is gonna be the lead on this, and they'll be the one interacting on it with the contractor. Payments will kind of go through them, just make it easier in Burke County. We do a lot of these multi-community projects, what we found is it's easier when the contractor's working with one entity instead of 5 entities. And so we have one take the lead, really the large, which is Burke County in this case. So they'll take the lead, and payments will in essence go through them, they'll be reimbursed for the payments to the contractor. So, just before we go through signing it, I figured I would go through and kind of explain the whole process to you guys. So that would be the follow-up, and in addition, there'll be a follow-up later for construction engineering, once we see the engineer's estimate, if you guys approve it as we're finishing up these design projects. But I kind of want to let you guys know the entire layout, how it's gonna go before we talk about putting any pen to paper on anything here. Is there any questions on any of that? I guess the only other thing I need is to kind of know your guys' feelings on that proposal we sent forward to you guys, and the motion to approve or disapprove, kind of seeing as you guys see fit.
That's for the whole project or the design engineering?
This is for the design engineering, it's an hourly not to exceed fee. In essence, we kind of just took 5% of what the construction estimate is on for, because these designs are pretty simplistic. I wasn't sure if you guys were planning to special assess the project or if it was going to be paid out kind of a roads fund, which if it's going to be special assessed, your bond council would likely make you guys end up going through a protest hearing, which would be their part of the question, as well as draw any special improvement districts you guys would need. So in essence, there's kind of a larger number there than will likely be used, but it's there in case we have to go through those extra steps.
There should not be any special assessments done. We haven't had special assessments in 10 years. I don't remember what the number was. I should have checked, but we had money set aside for the chip sealing, so I just want to give you guys that information.
One of those better safe than sorry, because everyone kind of does the different deals, you know?
Yeah, I understand. There-
Are there any questions on the proposal we submitted? That's kind of all I had to say. If you guys have any feelings about approving or not today, I guess. I just need a motion.
So So Liz did say she thought the contract looked good. It's different than what we would normally see, but she did also ask that, if we can go through with this, that we would supply the insurance and bond. If you would supply the insurance and bond information.
Yep, and I'll work with our lady out of Bowman who does our insurance at our corporate office. I'll reach out to her tomorrow and get that over.
Okay. What do you guys think?
Yes, sir. I would say motion of approval.
Awesome.
Okay, let's clean that up just a touch. Is it, motion to approve the $30,000 payment to Rose? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, motion to approve the payment.
So good. Okay, motion and a second to approve the payment to Rose in the amount of, well, not to exceed $30,000 for the design engineering. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 8 is Tioga fund application. Pull that up here. While I'm grabbing it, I believe it's a $10,000 request for the Tioga Halloween party and haunted house. Making sense of all that? It's kind of like twisted into the side and. All right, let's start with the $10,000 Halloween party.
Because a lot of work. Really good for the shelter. That,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application by, community improvement for $10,000.
I'll second it.
All right, with the motion and a second to approve the $10,000 amount requested, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, that motion carries. I don't know if you guys make heads or tails on that tool cabinet. Okay, let's move over to the Red Moose Coffee House. They're looking for $3,400 for a new commercial front door and transom window.
I know the fund approves up to 3,400, so I would make a motion to approve the $3,400 red.
I'll make a motion to approve up to $3,400 for red use.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Red Moose Coffee House application for the amount of $3,400. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and that one carries as well. Okay, the airport, they are looking for 35,000 to purchase a new courtesy car.
See, the Tioga fund approved of 20,000. Not the full amount requested.
That's great, that's right.
Reach of those hundred.
So the advisory board recommends 20,000 for the economic development portion of the title. Basically, courtesy car, people flying to town, get around town.
I trust the Tioga Fund's judgment of the 20,000. I would make a motion to return 20,000.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, purchase a new. Sorry, a motion and a second for the Tioga Municipal Airport so they can purchase a new courtesy car. Any questions about that? They will move to a vote.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, motion fails. I think that's it for Tioga Fund applications. We'll move to number 9, the visitor promotion applications. Bear with me here. All right, the Tioga Chamber of Commerce is, looks like they're looking to update sandblast page and do electrical work to the city signs that would be on Highway 2. Total project cost is $10,975, and that's what they're requesting.
Tioga Chamber does a really good job if they think that, signs need to be updated. And it was approved by the visitor promotion. I would make a motion to approve.
Second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the amount requested, $10,975 to update the city signs on Highway 2. Any discussion on that? Move to a vote?
Yes.
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 Yeah, motion carries. All right. It's the Halloween party again. The amount requested from the visitor promotion fund is $10,000 for the Tioga Halloween party.
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the amount requested from the visitor promotion fund for the Tioga Halloween party. Move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries. I think that's it. That tool chest is back again. Number 10. It came out to $1,800, and that was from Casey Hardy. Yep, they're right across the street from Black Fork. For what they're doing, it's
I agree, just trying to figure out how to word it, right? But just for word, just so I word it properly, who's asking for this?
Kirkwood or
Okay. I'd like to approve the $1,800 for Kirk O'Dear for the, spraying of the weeds and, sterilization.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the $1,800 bid from Casey Harvey. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Okay, last is the consent approval. We have the planning and zoning application, pledge holdings as of July 31st, 2024 from First State Bank and Trust. For August 7th, 2024, and financials for July 2024. So if there are no changes or questions, we'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda or consent approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent approval.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. We'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Yeah, motion carries. It's page 25. We get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, with the motion and a second to adjourn, we'll move to a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, we are adjourned at 8:26 PM.
Thanks, guys.
I heard, yeah, that was, I see that, that's scary.